What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Blood on the Razor Wire TV, where we bring it to you real and we bring it to you raw. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and share the video. Make sure you leave a comment. We try to get back to everybody on the comments as well. And you might have some questions for our guest, right? Guest today, man, he ran with the Bayucos. For those of you that are, from down there in Texas and Mexican descent, you probably know who the Bayucos are. I've been in prison with a few of these cats. I remember one in particular that was super arrogant, but that's not saying nothing about our guest. But when I was in the hole in the shoe in Pollock, man, the dude was horrible. But anyway, this dude's a really good dude. He's got a hell of a story about redemption and about turning his life around after being in the Federal Bureau of Prisons. But Dominique, tell the people who you are and tell them where you're from, brother.
Yeah, so I was born in Holland, Michigan. I was raised in Texas, Edinburgh, McAllen area for the vast majority of my life. Went to school, did the average usual. Around 14, 15, started getting involved with the drugs and started associating myself with those guys. And then one thing eventually just led to another. And then in 2014, that's where I found myself heading to prison.
So let me ask you a little bit about your upbringing in Texas, man. Did you live in a poor area? Did you live in an area where people had money? What was your upbringing like?
Yeah, we were living in a poor area. Kind of that area where it wasn't too fancy, classy. It was kind of like, in that area, everybody passed by, looked at it, smelled like shit. I mean, when they looked at it, they gave that look like, man, dude, it's a bad area, man.
So it was rough growing up. Your parents, were they poor? Did they have money? Did they work?
Yeah, so growing up, my parents, they tried the best they could. I mean, I'm pretty sure like any average other parent, but yeah, it was poor. They had those minimum dead end jobs, minimum wages. Yeah, so it was pretty tough, challenging. Always constantly moving from house to house. Never had a set stable home.
Now you end up getting arrested. What are you arrested for?
I got arrested for possession of marijuana with intent to distribute more than 50 kilos, but less than 99.
Really, it's kind of like you would think in your mind, like it's a bullshit weed case, but the feds pick it up, right?
That is correct.
How old are you at the time?
When I got arrested, I was 24. No, I'm sorry. I was 20 years old. I'm sorry.
So you're 20 years old. You're going to federal prison. You don't get a whole bunch of time, right? How much time do you end up getting sentenced to?
48 months, which is 4 years.
And, your story's really not about, the 48 months for real, man. Your story's more about what you did when you went to prison and when you came home and what you're doing now. So, some people might be like, 48 months, why is he on the show? Because the show's about redemption, man. It's about showing people, man, they can change their lives, helping change people's paths. So now you do end up going to Three Rivers, right?
That is correct.
So at Three Rivers, man, we sound like we're in court, man. Like I'm the lawyer and I'm questioning you, bro. Is that correct? It's all good. So you go to Three Rivers, but Three Rivers was popping, man. I used to hear things. I had a homeboy down there named Jeff. He was there about 10 years ago running a poker table from Philly. But tell the people a little bit about Three Rivers. What's it like?
I'm not going to lie. I'm going to be honest, just like everybody else. It's my first time going to federal prison. I'm pretty nervous. I don't know what to expect. Never experienced it. So going through the process, when you first get there to R&D, have to speak to the captain, lieutenant, your counselor, make sure you're good, your PSI is clean, you can walk the yard. And then like around 2:00, we head to our units, our assigned housing unit. And then there I get to meet the speaker of our gang, and he kind of just gives me the rundown. He kind of asks me, "Hey, are you good?" I tell him, "Yeah." And they have that thing too where they give you 30 days to get your PSI in, and just to confirm it, and then kind of meet everybody else throughout the dorm and stuff like that.
So, they give you time to get your PSI, but you're not really allowed to have your PSI in federal prison anymore. So what do they want? Your sentencing transcript, your docket sheet to find out if you told on anyone?
That is correct. Just to make sure that you don't have that 501k or that safety valve on it.
Yep. As soon as you walk into Three Rivers, though, are there a bunch of Paisas there too?
Oh yeah, by far there is.
Try to press you at first. Who's the first people that walk up to you? Because I'm sure they don't know you're a Bayuco as soon as you walk in, right?
Well, yeah. Well, when I first got there, they have it where they have that sheet where the people they know who's going to be coming in. So, well, Three Rivers is kind of what they call our backyard because there's kind of a lot of us there. So a lot of the people that I was already like in the federal detention center that I was waiting to go to prison as the other ones, a lot of them were already there. So when they kind of saw my name there, they kind of already knew who I was. So they were expecting me, but so the first people that kind of approached me were like the Tongos and then the Paisas as well.
And the Paisas, when they approach you, are they trying to like check out your tattoos, or do you tell them right away, "Hey, man, I'm not a Paisa, I'm a Bayuco"?
Yeah, I let them know. But yeah, they are like scanning me, checking me out, stuff like that.
They walk up to you and they're probably like, "Hey, what's up, way?"
Yo, donde eres?
So now you end up talking to the shot caller, right? And people are probably like, "Man, as soon as you get into prison, the shot caller approaches you and he gives you the rundown, like this is what it is, this is how we are, and they give you the 30 days to get your paperwork." Have you seen other dudes that don't have their paperwork, and or when someone notices them? What happens?
Uh, well, when I first got there, to the best of my knowledge, I didn't really not as soon as I got there, but throughout the times, there was some people that had got there and they kind of told them like, "Hey, man, when you see that paperwork, and if you don't get it, it's either they kind of gave them the option. It's either you check in or you know what it is."
They will give you the option to check in. They won't just jump on you right away.
Yeah, that is correct. Now, if you're now, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
You go. We're good.
Okay. Well, if you're dirty, like if you're a chomo or a snitch, yeah, that's automatic. They're not even going to give you the option.
So some people do get an option, but like for what? What did they violate on the compound? They did something stupid. The shot caller's tired of them. Like, yo, you're gonna go up top, or I'm gonna send these dudes to handle it.
Yeah, that is correct. Yep. So a lot of the times it's usually those drug debts or the gambling debts that they can't pay. They get so far in debt, it's like,
Seen anybody get smashed for having a gambling debt, paisas or your own people?
oh, actually, man, who was it? Yeah, I've seen a couple of people get smashed for prison debts, but I don't can't really recall like who they were associated with. And I know as far as like when I was there, it wasn't really so much like I know for an example, there was a Paisa there at the time, and a lot of people's MP3 players were coming up missing. And well, long story short, they kind of had they kind of started to have suspicion because he started to have all these MP3 players. So they finally told they actually took one of the Tango Blast's MP3 player, and he stood up on the table and he called out everybody. He said, "Hey, one of you, if any of you bitch ass motherfuckers are taking these, and we find out, we're gonna smash your punk ass right up off this yard." And well, they ended up finding out, and they let the Tango Blast know, and the Tango Blast told them like, "Hey, either you take care of your own person, or it's gonna be a Royal Rumble up in here."
People are thinking like MP3 players. That's something that we have in federal prison, and dudes do steal them. Sometimes I've been in prison where dudes, and I'm going to do a story about this, where dudes will steal your MP3 player, and you can't recharge it you can't revalidate it for 14 days. But there's dudes that don't have an MP3 player walking around listening to other people's MP3 players until it runs out, and then they got to revalidate it, and they can't because it's not theirs. So what was the Paisa doing with it? Was he selling them for parts? I've seen dudes steal them, selling, making battery packs. Making battery packs out of them. Tell the people why they're stealing MP3 players.
Well, in that particular price, he was actually stealing them for like the batteries for parts to fix other people's. That's basically what he was stealing it for.
So what ended up happening? Did they smash the Paisa? Did the Paisa smash their own guy? What happened?
So yeah, so they ended up lacing up everybody, and they let everybody know like, "Hey, we're gonna take care of this dude after I want to say it was after lunchtime, or no, I'm sorry, it was after I think the 4 o'clock count. Um, Everybody went out to the yard, and I guess just to let everybody know like, hey man, it's gonna go down. So we're gonna give everybody a chance to go inside and make their meal, take a shower, do whatever they need to do. So, and it was kind of weird because as soon as they called yard recall pretty early that day, it was kind of odd. So we get to our dorm, and there's like 6, 7 cops outside our housing unit. So we're like, oh man, it's kind of weird and odd. So anyways, it's all cool in there. I would say about like an hour and a half, 2 hours. I was sitting right there by the TV, and of course, where all the computers are to send emails and to get on your or to for the computers to do whatever you need to do. He was standing right there, and then all of a sudden you heard the chair slide back, and you saw like 4 or 5 Paisas just smashing that. His own people smashing on him.
They hit him with locks or anything like that, or they just beat him up with their hands?
Yeah, just beat him up with their hands. I mean, they smashed him pretty good.
I've seen that happen with some of them Paisas, but sometimes they fight back. Was that dude fighting back?
Nah, he wasn't even trying to.
Well, what happened? Did he just lay on the ground and let him kick him, punch him?
No, so it was like 2, 3 of them. They all started swinging at him. But what he did, he tried to run around the table, and the other Paisa came around and just connected with him. So he kind of like fell and stumbled, and from there it was open season. Everybody just them typical those like 4 or 5 dudes. They just started just wailing on him and wailing on him until the guards came in.
Tell the people what it's like, man, when there's all that chaos, right? And the guards come in. Are they screaming? Are they yelling? Are they tackling people? What happens in federal prison?
So for the majority, yeah, they'll come in. They'll rush right to where the chaos is happening. They'll start they'll try to give them some like time to say, hey man, break it up, stop. And if it's not happening, they'll either start mazing them, and then eventually they will start tackling them and getting them off the whoever's getting smashed out.
The only thing you've seen violent at Three Rivers?
No, I seen we were in the we were in the chapel, and it was during the summer. They allowed the baseball bats to come out, the metal ones, and we were in the chapel just hanging out with the other homeboys, and then they got a call that somebody was getting beat with a baseball bat, and yeah, I think that one ended pretty bad too. I've seen I didn't see it personally because it happened in another dorm, but I seen a dude that was there. He was walking not walking the yard, but he was there walking freely. And I guess another dude from another compound came in there and kind of noticed him, and he knew he was dirty from court. So he laced up his homeboys and said, "Hey man, this dude's dirty. I don't even know how he's walking here." So they told him, "Hey, after this count, either you check in or you know what it is." And he said, he said, "Fuck it." I guess he knew he had it coming. So I guess he took it for what it was.
You have seen some people refuse to go up top. They do fight back sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, this dude, and this is where the downfall where they talk like not being like not staying asleep, after count, and he didn't check in, so they ran like 4 or 5 dudes ran up in there with locks and socks and beat the brakes off of them.
Who do you think was the toughest car while you were at Three Rivers?
Man, yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I would say, I would think they're pretty. The majority of them are all pretty tough. I never really seen any car, kind of bitch out in anything.
I mean, what car had the most numbers then? Let me ask you a different way.
The Paisas had the numbers there.
I asked you that for a reason because when I talk about this, you're probably going to understand where I'm going now, right? Televisions in prison become problems. And I've been in prisons where the Paisas had the numbers, so they wanted to run the TV, right? Like there's a black TV, a sports TV, a white TV, a Mexican TV. Being in Texas, in a Texas prison, I'm not sure if you guys had 2 or 3 TVs, if the Bayucos had their own TV, if the Paisas had their own TV. But was there ever an issue with the TVs with the Paisas? Like when soccer was on and stuff like that?
Yeah, there was actually this one incident. To answer your question too, before that, yeah, we had 2 TVs. The Bayucos did, the whites had theirs, the blacks had theirs, and then the Paisas had theirs. Well, this main particular incident, well, this Sureño was coming in, and he came into our housing unit, and from my understanding, he was asking everybody like, "Hey, where's our TV at?" Well, I don't know, somebody, I think it was the Paisas that had kind of, I think, bullshitted him and told him, "Hey, your TV's right there," but it was the Black's TVs, and he started changing the channel, and it got real quick. The speaker came to talk to the Mexicans, and he let them know like, "Hey, man, this dude just came in here, started changing our channel." But then to find out the Bisons had told him, "Hey, man, that's your TV right there." So I don't know if they were setting him up for failure or they wanted to see some chaos happen or what. But and that's when we almost had that riot.
Talk a little bit about that. There was almost a riot over that.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Tell the people
So
about that. Like, what happened? I mean, did they work it out? I mean, you said almost, but
right. So it was what? It was after lunchtime. We came back to the housing unit, and everybody had their boots on. And I was talking to my cellie in the cell, and all of a sudden he just got quiet. So I look out the cell window. So so everybody started huddling up in groups, all the different cars. The whites got with the whites, the Mexicans got with the Mexicans, the blacks got with the blacks. And so the guard in his the window on the top, I guess he started seeing everything. So he comes running out of his little office area, and he's like, "Hey, what's going on?" And nobody didn't say a word. So he called it in on the radio, hit the deuces, and all the guards started coming in. Lock it down, lock it down. So everybody locked it down, stayed quiet as hell. So they locked it down the rest of the day. So the next day, the morning, they unlocked the doors at five in the morning. Everybody had their boots on, and it was still real quiet. Like all the tension is just there. So we go to breakfast, and we come back, and then everybody started huddling up again. And now this time, it's just like boiling water. It's just gonna come to the point where it's just gonna start going everywhere. Well, and this is where I say it almost happened because the guard saw it and he called it in. So when the guards came rushing in, I was on the second top or the second tier, and everybody was at the bottom. So I was standing there, and all of a sudden I seen this metal little, I don't know what it was, and they threw it, and it went ting ting ting, and all you heard was boom, like it was a flash stun grenade, and then they threw another one, and it kind of like, I don't know. To me, when it happened, it rattled the whole prison. Like it was like, I felt like it rattled me. And then they started handcuffing certain individuals, and then they started locking it down. And then from that day forward, we were on lockdown for, I want to say, like 2 weeks.
so really there is going to be a riot, but the cops come in and they start throwing them flashbangs, man. And I've been in situations where they've been thrown, right? It's just like, tell the people what it feels like, man, when that thing goes off. And is your adrenaline pumping? Are you nervous? Are you like, oh shit, I better get to my cell? What are you thinking at that time?
Yeah. So the first time I seen it go off, I was like, damn. And like I said, when that flashbang grenade went off, it felt like it rattled the whole dorm, and the smoke detector started going off. It was loud. Ears started ringing, and then they threw another one right below me, and that's when it really just hit, man. I feel like I was nervous. I'm not gonna lie. It was pretty intense.
So let's talk a little bit about this, because there are some young dudes that are going to watch this show, right? And, maybe some guys that are 20 years old, 22, 24. I want them to understand what's going on here, right? In federal prison, the Sereno touches the black TV, right? The Paisa set him up a little bit, whatever. That's crazy that they would do that because it involves everybody if it becomes a race thing. But sometimes we have younger dudes in prison that do dumb shit. So them dudes were probably doing dumb shit. They don't like him because he's a Sereno, right?
Right.
Now, when they're trying to politic, are the blacks like, nah, man, he touched our TV when it could have just been, and I'm not saying this in a bad way towards blacks, towards Mexicans, towards anyone. But I've seen it with white dudes like, nah, fuck that, man. Nah, man, we don't want to hear it. When really it's something small and it can blow up and be a big thing where a bunch of good men die. So was it the Mexicans that were like, yo, they disrespect us because they talk shit to us? or were the blacks pushing it? Who was pushing it?
I would say the blacks were pushing it because they're the ones that felt disrespected when he touched their TV. You know, I guess especially from that point that they should have known better to not even do that to begin with. You know,
I'm sure he probably wouldn't have touched the TV had he known that it was the black TV, but he was told that it was, the Sereno TV, so he went and changed the channel. And these dudes feel disrespected, and that's what the story is kind of. There's two stories today, and we're going to get to the second one. But really, the teachable moment here is, look, man, something this small over a television could cost people their lives. It's got the cops running in there. There's about to be a riot. There's going to, riots pop off like that, man. All it takes is one spark. One dude to be like, nah, fuck. And then someone swings, and now everybody's fighting. People are stabbing. I mean, we're in a prison where people are stabbing people. Three Rivers is a dangerous prison. It was back then. So I want people to realize that, man, something as small as a television, you could get killed over it, and you didn't even touch the TV. You could have got killed there that day, right?
that is right. Exactly. That is true.
So, or you could have had to kill someone else so that they didn't kill you, and now you'd be serving life because the Paisas were playing with the TV, telling the Sereno to do something he shouldn't have done.
That is true. That is very, very true.
And, I've seen plenty of people not want to let things go in prison. Sometimes, I used to tell my dudes this, right? I'd be like, look, man, and I'm going to bring another kid on, the next day or two that I did time with USP Lee. I used to tell him, man, sometimes you got to give a person a way out. If a person makes a mistake, man, you'd be like, all right, man, don't trip, man. You can save face, whatever. We don't have to beef. We don't have to have a riot. We don't have to get involved in this, right? But sometimes people just won't let things go. And then everybody ends up damaged from it. But, I want to talk a little bit about what you did with your time while you were in prison. Did you learn anything? Did you go to school?
Yeah. So when I was actually in the detention center, waiting for my time to get transferred out to prison, I kind of was already embedding it in my mind that when I get to federal prison, I want to use that time to my advantage and use it to either to better myself, educate myself to the best of my ability, and just use it to my advantage to better myself, to come home to be a whole different, totally new person, and use it to my advantage in a smart way, and take advantage of it because in there, all it is just time. So yes, I did go to school in there. I actually got my GED in there. I got my culinary arts certificate in there through Austin Community College. And so now that I'm home, again, as I use that to my advantage, now it actually opened up doors. Now I'm actually in college. Well, I'm actually at a university. I'm actually obtaining my Bachelor of Arts in Psychology to become a college professor.
Wow. I need you to say that again, man, because you know what, man? People need to hear that. You're going to college to become a what?
A college professor.
Wow. How's that feel, man?
It feels amazing. There is some cons to it because the way some people look at it, like, oh, he's a convict or he's an ex-felon. I don't feel like they kind of like look down on you on that, like, oh, I don't feel like he should be able to teach. I don't think he's fit for that. But you'll be surprised actually how many people have actually spent time in prison and they are actually a college professor.
Well, I got a real good friend named Sean Hopwood, right? He was a former federal prisoner, jailhouse lawyer, one of the only jailhouse lawyers to ever win in the Supreme Court on not one, but I think 3 different cases. He came home, became a law professor at Georgetown, worked closely with the White House on the First Step Act. He's always involved in criminal justice things. And, he's a lawyer and a law professor at Georgetown. So it is possible. And I understand that some people do look down on you. But you know what? If you don't believe it, no one else will. You got to believe in yourself, right?
Yeah, that is correct. Absolutely.
You think the face tattoo affects you a little bit?
Oh, it affects me a lot of it. It affects me greatly. I always get these funny stares,
Some people might say, "Oh man, you should be able to do whatever you want." But me personally, I kept all my tattoos underneath my shirt, man. My arms this way up, my back, my sides. I didn't do that outlandishly. But what is it on your face? I'm sure people want to know.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's actually the area code 4956. So it's the area code for the valley where I grew up. So it's just like I kind of used it for, like, it was part of the gang stuff. Like every tango, they kind of use their area code as part of like their symbolic symbol.
So let me ask you this: have you put the gang stuff behind you?
Oh, absolutely.
And with putting that behind you, are you going to try to get rid of the face tattoo?
Yes.
That might be a wise choice if you're going to be a professor, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
What made you want to be a professor, man?
Ever since middle school, ever since I was in sixth grade, um, I don't know, something just, I think a lot of it had to do. I was actually impacted by my English teacher, Miss Trejo. I just, it's just the way, like, I guess they're just the way, or how do I say this? Okay, outside of that, I'm real fascinated with education and learning. So, and then just from everything that I've been taught throughout school, and the things that I've learned, it really made that impact to actually build that drive and desire to actually want to teach. And ever since then, that's kind of just what I wanted to do. And as I got older, the drive and desire it just became stronger and stronger and stronger.
Now, some people, before we get ready to leave, I probably should have asked you this earlier. Were you from in Texas again? McAllen?
Yeah, McAllen. That's where I was actually raised. Yeah, McAllen, Edinburgh area.
So you're from McAllen, and some people might be like, well, what's a bayuco? So I'm going to tell you, like, tell them what it is, way.
So, so, so the Tango Bayuco it's of course it's a prison gang, but it's based out of the valley. Just like the Tango Blast is based out of the Houston, Austin, Fort Worth, Dallas. The Tango Chucos are based out of El Paso. The Tango Corpus Christi the Sharks are out of Corpus Christi. You know,
I've been with people, I've been with some bayucos, right? And I told you before, like, the ones that I was around, they didn't like the Paisas, man. Seen that where they didn't like the Paisas?
yeah, yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah.
So now, listen, man, we're going to get ready to close the show, right? You're doing big things, man. I'm proud of you. I appreciate you, but maybe some young dude wants to, he needs a message from you. There's some young Hispanic kid in Texas right now that's on the wrong road. There might be some young African American kid in California that's like, damn, man, I want to be a professor too, but my life is fucked up, man. I'm poor. I got to get in the streets. Or maybe there's some young white kid down there in Texas that's listening to you. What message would you give them, man, from your own learning experience? They might be selling weed and think, it's just weed right now. I mean, hopefully, I think they're going to legalize this shit, but what message would you have for them?
Yeah, I mean, I think the best advice I can tell them, or at least from personal experience, is just, man, stop while you're ahead. Because if you don't stop, you keep going, you're probably going to end up eventually heading to where we are. And I think at that point, it can be a life or death situation. But I would say either just stop while you're ahead and just try to, make better decisions, or just maybe start changing your friends around, or who you consider your friends, because I do believe that people's environment do play a typical role in the things that they do or how they're influenced.
No doubt, man. I definitely appreciate you. I appreciate that message. And you know what, man? I look forward to you being a part of the change that you seek to see in others. And what I mean by that is going out there and teaching and educating people and giving someone a shot, man. You know what I mean? Give them a shot where they can make it, bro. So I appreciate you.
Absolutely.
I'm going to close the show and tell people, I hope you like this one. I hope that it does resonate. I hope some young kid is listening. If you haven't already, man, hit that like button. Why not share the video? It's educational. I think you should share it. Leave a comment. Blood on the Razor Wire TV. With respect, until tomorrow, we're out.